previously.
Beyond the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the event of a great departure. Japan opens relations with Britain only to have an English professor murdered, supposedly by our main character, in a case with many peculiarities. Ryonosuke must prove his innocence after being married into the position of the defense. An actively dying waiter, an aggressive soldier with a homunculus, and a grandiloquent antique dealer who lost his prized coin testify that Ryonosuke likely did the crime, and all omit a mysterious woman Ryonosuke claims to remember. After catching the soldier in a lie during cross-examination, the witness is prepared to retestify, this time, hopefully, with the truth. Will Bob, woman find out on... Alright, testimony number 2. The true culprit. I'm listening.
Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment of the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black, that much I myself did see.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
These testimonies are certainly compelling.
Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all, but you have no evidence, Ryonosuke.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection! If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, Counsel?
That would be very helpful.
Indeed. Of the table which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can clearly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
This doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
The photographic print of the crime scene has been entered. Okay. A bottle of carbonated water and steak lunch. Interesting. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman.
The waiter before said the same thing.
He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him.
It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. Damn it, Judge! The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Auchi,
I'm sorry,
we have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule.
Stand tall, Ryonosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination.
I don't know, Kazuma.
The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood?
Rules can be so unbending at times.
Do we have anything in the court? Shot from the front. Ooh. Magnifying glass. All right. Yep, pretty good. This is where it happened. Yep, got it. He does not look good for 67. Oh, wow. I don't see anything that would be a contradiction. All right.
Even before I saw it,
Oh, you can press someone. When did you see this? I thought you were under the table.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already. That's all because I picked it off. Okay, no, that's... But wasn't this guy under the table?
Well, obviously, the culprit. That's the only way you could explain it away.
I just finished drinking my coffee. I was about to leave the restaurant when... I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment... But he was under the table. A gunshot rang in my ears.
Full of revenge beyond our control, life is.
Sorry. What do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas, conversely, I failed to pick up the Coleman from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I didn't see you. With pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Yes!
What did you say, Cadet?
I clearly remember. Yes, there is a woman. There's a woman. I'm aware there is a woman. Perhaps some of you might not have noticed. But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible.
Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruto, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone.
Sorry?
The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone.
That's right.
Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady.
But I...
If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It's a blatant waste of the court's time.
Nothing I can say to that. Yeah, I don't have any evidence.
What do you think, Ryunosuke? What's the matter?
I can't find anything. I can't find a clear discrepancy anywhere. I'm done for. I can't win this trial. Listen, the first thing to do is calm down. You can't expect witness statements to be full of holes every time. So just take your time and try to tease more information out of them first. What do you mean? You can choose to either press or present against each of the witness statements. If a witness is saying something you're suspicious about, press him on it with L. With a little luck, you may get more details which could prove to be crucial. Right, I see. The important point is, there's no sense in holding back. If anything even slightly jars with you, press the witnesses on it, and press them hard. Alright, got it. I'll press them like blocks of tofu. The professor wasn't alone in the restaurant, I'm sure of it. One way or another, this cross-examination is going to prove I'm right. It's time to press them for all they're worth. My fate depends on it. For precise moment, it's almost the same thing. Is it almost the same thing? No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun.
We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet.
I don't think so.
Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yes, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it.
That analogy isn't the same at all.
Attention! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in this incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Korekuda-san?
Furthermore, official research and process confirmed that we were the only person present.
Yes!
There's a lady there!
Objection!
As you have been a pain to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
If only there had been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course, the place is almost empty. It's what you'd expect.
Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What does that counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at the clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
At a clinic. Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m.
The very day of the incident.
So the victim went for a wait once following an appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case.
I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. No, Ryo, it's very related. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. I want to do that. Should I ask? It's like Fedora. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's report card to be submitted as evidence or not? Ask for it to be better not no. Ask for it to be submitted. Come on, what are you thinking? If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up for us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence.
Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Ugh. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's the most disturbing trend.
Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record.
What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you.
Humph. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten, as these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused Korakuta-san.
Indeed,
Sorry. Let's see, what do we got? Can I examine this at all? AmeriCorps card from Hada Clinic that was found in the victim's pocket. I can examine this? Oh. Look at this. I didn't see this. Single bullet. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. Let's see what to do here. Whoops. Oh, really? I didn't need to do... Oh, phew! Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. Huh. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Yeah, no, I wanted to look at that, but I couldn't. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. I wanted to do, the game didn't give me an option to do that. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may... Okay, yeah, but that one didn't have a magnifying glass. You can't do that. If you can't have other things have a magnifying glass, except for the one you want from the magnifying glass tutorial. Okay. Yeah. Press A, and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use those buttons. Whoa! What? 3 dimensions! To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using those buttons. That was a cool demo you just did there. You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. The crosshairs start to pulsate. Press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Medical... Let's see. What is this? Medical report card required for every visit. Mr. John Wilson... Mister? I thought he was a doctor. Dentist? Where's the date? Why is there no date here? Looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of long-term treatment, that's why. With the family doctor, I imagine. Well, I can't imagine going to a doctor, as long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. Ooh. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So you don't like doctors, then? Why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine, they give you painful injections, then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege, all when you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. The bad case of stubbornness, no less, for which the only cure is very bitter medicine indeed. Okay, well that was a fun conversation you two had. Let's flip this open, shall we? Look at this. Oh, there's so much to glean here. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Is he pescatarian? Maybe that's why the steak wasn't his. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? That sounds what that's like. It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. So eating solid foods would be a bit hard for him, Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. I've never had laughing gas. I want it at some point. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed.
Really?
Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. It does! Medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. Dental on the day of the prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes! So, I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely! There we go. Dining all by himself. Why would he be dining? Tell me, why would he be dining with this information? With this information! Let's have a look. This is some kind of I didn't click the right button. Can I skip?
Yes!
Well, I think,
About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer?
I completely lost the old man's voice. I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryonosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under their circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. So I have to leave my hand up is what you're saying. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Kurakuda-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Wow, he really can't speak eloquently, huh?
I see, man, I don't see. Whatever, boy.
Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Dear me, have you forgotten my word so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But
Let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever you may or may not have done before that time, it's completely irrelevant.
But that's... Remember, Ryonosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There's really no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. The medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there was no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could...
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst has petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hata Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted?
What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating.
Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what?
It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't.
Korakuda-san.
What?
As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No.
Additionally,
There's more?
you have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case! Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic! Ah! Expertly done, partner. Deliberating.
Objection! What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at the photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you?
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. High five, Kazuma. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? That's my judge. The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? All right, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak of the victim today must have been... me. An as yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on this table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Kazuma!
Are you insane? You would take on the government?
Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand.
What?
What are you talking about?
We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Wham, wham, wow, wow.
Perjury!
And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing.
Complicit? Murder?
Hold it. Pinwheel. Negative.
There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders.
That's right, as the man says. And just you say never saw the gentlewoman, that's what they're told.
Us.
Oh.
What? What did you just say? Korikuta-san? There you go.
Oh, no.
You were just following orders?
Now hold on, lad. I was,
Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with the lady from overseas?
What? Objection! What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is it true, you pair?
Just one simple slip of the tongue.
Order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You try to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this!
Then who's behind this? Who trying to make you keep your mouth shut?
That's classified.
So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you?
You wouldn't. This can't be happening.
Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to signs by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. Could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. It's the government, all right. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? We can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose.
I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait, Your Excellency! I had no idea about any of this! I swear to every Shinto god! I knew nothing!
And what does the defense have to say about all this?
Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. I don't know. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... I don't know. This is probably gonna be wrong.
Yes!
I think, Counselor, you may want to close your ears as well as... Okay, yeah, I don't... Otherwise, the size of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you.
If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, might I suggest you keep your mouth shut next time, too? Otherwise, I may have to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it permanently.
Okay. Alright, I don't get angry. I'll think again. There must be a clue somewhere in all that evidence in the court record. Actually, now that I think about it, there might be some piece of evidence I haven't thoroughly examined yet.
And what does the defense have to say about all this?
Excuse me, I need to examine the evidence. I haven't examined this one. The symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like the spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Though it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders. A sharp pin for sharp mind or something? Yes. My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a Yume student at the university. You may not come in, they say. That's a good one. That's a funny one. That's a funny one. Of course, you can get a new pin made if you can just tell them your number. I've actually lost mine twice already, but still know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere. But then I forget not to forget that. Oh, we didn't examine this, did we? This plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything in the moments following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw there. Exactly. And that's not all. Look here in the upper left where it says kitchen. Oh yes. What of it? No one would use those complicated characters to write kitchen, especially not if they were in a hurry. You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Ryonosuke. Kitchen, Entrance. Interesting. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Wait, what? Well, that's unexpected. Is the waiter the chief of police? What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau? Inspector? What on earth? Egads! I have no idea. Let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. They're wielding it somehow here. The waiter's business card. I feel we found our evidence.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Sorry, that was not what I was expecting for him to say.
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have the level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were...
Come on, Ryonosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga
Sounds real identity as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything.
Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the back of the card. Wait, what? It's the back of the card that's of interest. Well said.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, me too. What are you saying? Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yeah, you should have said that. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is.
Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say?
Osanaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession.
The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious!
That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. How does he remember all this?
What? The waiter is a police detective. I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, when witnesses there in the stand, was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene?
Well...
What in the world?
Inspector Hosanaga! What was his voice? It was so long ago, I don't remember this guy's voice. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility.
The court will get this plan added to the court record as evidence. Oh, well...
This is my flashback voice.
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are.
Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I forgot about that. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Of course! Your salary must be terrible! I was working undercover. Your salary must be terrible! I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide.
Very well then, Inspector Hosanaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court.
Of course, Your Excellency.
We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable!
As I suspected. This music's crazy. I gotta remember to turn it up later. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say? Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. Huh? The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman.
What?
You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first.
Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector.
The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty.
Wow. What is happening here?
I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all the evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation.
Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection! But, Your Excellency, that would be missing of the new deadline of a ruling in order to send a telegram.
What happened to his voice?
That will be missing the new deadline of a ruling in order to send a telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will certainly be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga.
Yes, sir?
You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency.
At once, Your Excellency.
But that means we'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. so it won't be a problem. Is he gonna die? Oh, nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, yes. Your Excellency.
Good. Then we have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. That was fun. That was a fun adventure we just had right there. So, well, thank you everyone for watching The Adventure of the Great Departure Trial Part 1 Supreme Court Courtroom. That was incredibly fun that happened. What am I saying? It was incredibly fun. I'm sorry that the voices of all the characters fluctuated dramatically throughout the video and that we did have those technical hiccups. That should hopefully not happen next time, since I believe my setup is less prone to shifting. But yeah, that was Ace Attorney, whatever this game is called. Grand Adventure Chronicles something. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye. See you. Bye.